We come on, if you will. Mark has a servant. And then we find out that Luke has him as a man. In other words, his genealogy, there are only two genealogies. Number one is in Matthew, and Mark doesn't have a genealogy because we don't care what kind of family he comes from. As long as he can do the job and so forth, we don't care what his nationality or anything else is. But Matthew is a genealogy of the Lord Jesus Christ. We have Luke is a genealogy of the Lord Jesus Christ. And the reason there are two genealogies is very simply this. We find out here that the genealogy in Matthew and Luke, and I'll get in that just a few minutes, but they are two. One has to do with the point that Mary had to be and have her genealogy in Luke because Mary had to come and be of a priestly line. Now, you go in the Old Testament, you'll find out that Coniah was a man that God really hated because he hated God and so forth. And he said, and he came down right in the line over here of Matthew. So he put a curse and said, there will not be any son ever born unto you, and nothing. So out of coming that line, there could be nobody for the Lord Jesus Christ to be born with. But anyway, to make a long story short, and over there to Matthew, we find out, therefore, to be the father, and the reason God chose Mary was because she was going to be married to Joseph. You see, Joseph could come on down, and he was of the line there. Mary gave the birth there for Christ to qualify her for it. And we find also that her husband Joseph. But coming out of Joseph's line, there couldn't be anyone, therefore, born of that line. But being the foster child and the foster father, then he qualified because he wasn't under the curse that was cursed on Coniah. So you see, when you say that Mary was you know, she's such a wonderful woman out of all the women of the world. Well, I've got news for you. Even Elizabeth was just as righteous as what Mary was. And if you go to the Old Testament, Jael was blessed above women, not with women. So that's above women. And Mary wasn't blessed above women. She was blessed among women, you see, and so forth. So I just want to bring out a couple little things that people get all screwed up on and so forth like that. But anyway, he is a servant in Mark, and he was. And in Luke, he is born, therefore, in Luke, as, I should say, his genealogies will go clear back there and go clear on back there for Mary and so forth, that clear on back to, I should say, Adam and there and so forth like that. You'll find out that the others went back from Matthew clear on back, but not clear back to Adam. You see, that's very interesting. But anyway, Mary had to have, as far as the right for Christ to be born in the kingly line. And the other line, we find out that she had to be marrying a man who was of the kingly line, you see, and that was Joseph. Mary was on the other end of the line, not the kingly line, but of the birth of coming down through and so forth, like that. So, to make a long story short, everything, she had to be married to Joseph. So, anyway, and then John, there are no genealogies in John, and the reason for that is John is presented as God, and so forth, and he is not in any way, shape, or form need a genealogy because God never had a genealogy. There's never been a time when he was not, you see. And so, anyway, that's why the four Gospels, and Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all are complementary to give a four-sided picture of the Lord Jesus Christ, period.